Good morning. Thank you for joining us to learn more about how to use Microsoft apps to break down barriers across your organization. Just a couple of housekeeping items. There is in the top right of the Teams interface a spot for question and answer. And if you pop in a question here or there, certainly we'll do our best to interject responses if it makes sense. Otherwise, we'll take questions at the end of the presentation. We've left plenty of time to do that. My name is Sarah Compter, president at Synact. We are a Microsoft partner focused on the implementation of Dynamics 365. And in our work to design, customize, and support D365 for our clients, we've noticed a trend. While most of our customers are using Office 365 for email and traditional Office products like PowerPoint and Word, we don't see much engagement with some of the newer productivity apps. If we look under the hood of the car, we see a myriad of tools in use at most companies. The increasing accessibility and flexibility of technology creates an environment where we want a silver bullet for every business problem. And since there always seems to be, quote, an app for that, we often make platform selections to resolve an imminent business need without considering how it might engage with other people, other apps, and other data in the organization. And of course, if end users can't fulfill their requirement quickly and easily, sometimes they'll download those consumer grade products, leading to inconsistent user experience, inability to share, and increased security risk. These shadow IT solutions make it nearly impossible to manage user access, ensure security, and fulfill compliance needs in the organization. So I promise this is going to be our only really techie slide. So try to bear with me if you tend to glaze over with highly technical pieces of information. As more and more technical solutions have emerged, small and mid-sized businesses have begun to yearn for interconnectivity. For the last decade, businesses have been building custom integrations and buying bolt-on solutions to core platforms in attempts to reach that holy grail, that fully integrated system. Recognizing the increased use of diverse and disconnected business applications, and more importantly, perhaps, seeing the overwhelming challenges that have resulted, Microsoft launched a solution, the Common Data Model. Imagine a bicycle wheel. The Common Data Model is the hub to which all applications in the model, or spokes, are connected. All data is standardized and stored here, bridging the gap between repositories of information that were once divided by a digital language barrier. So, with that common set of definitions for the data, we can develop no-code and low-code solutions using tools like Power Apps, Microsoft Flow, and Power BI to connect apps inside and outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. This ultimately gives us a seamless, interconnected set of applications to manage our business from end to end. Office 365, which is the primary suite we'll tackle today, is the core set of apps that emerged from this model. So, for any newbies out there, Office 365 is a cloud-based collaboration platform with Office applications and other productivity services to which users can subscribe to based on their needs. Applications within the suite offer web-based, mobile, and local versions, providing a comprehensive and seamless user experience. Most businesses with Office 365 don't use all of the tools available to them with their licenses. Sometimes they genuinely don't have a use for them, but more often than not, it's because they just aren't familiar with the options. But there are some hidden gems in that Explore All Your Apps link in your Office 365 portal. Today, we're going to be introducing some of these lesser known apps that come with most Office 365 business and enterprise plans. So to start off, where can we find these applications? When you access Office 365 online, all of the apps are available from the App Launcher, or as I like to call it, the waffle iron. This is the button with 9 dots up at the top left of any Office 365 online app. With Office 365 plans, user can install these apps on up to 5 devices, including PCs, tablets, and phones. The Explore All Your Apps link, which you'll see when you click on the waffle iron, is actually really helpful. It takes you to a list of apps with links to Microsoft tutorials and tips. These are relatively basic, short tutorials. So I really encourage you to take a few minutes every day and learn about one of the apps in the ecosystem. We'll kick off a shallow dive into a few apps with a personal favorite of mine, Microsoft Teams. And actually, you'll note that today we're actually using Microsoft Teams for this live event. So we're trying to really embrace the technology we're talking about today. Teams is a virtual workplace that provides opportunities to chat with coworkers, host web meetings, and share information. It can actually take the place of your phone system as well. And at Synact, we've recently made that transition. So this application actually acts as our primary form of communication. At its core, it provides a platform for communicating in the moment, making it easy to keep everyone in the know. Perhaps more importantly, Teams can really be a launch pad for your daily work. It offers a digital hub for independent and teamwork. You can connect other Microsoft apps like Planner, OneNote, and Dynamics 365, or create a workplace for hundreds of other apps that you might be using outside of the ecosystem, like Adobe Creative Cloud, Facebook and Twitter, download RSS feeds, and more. Ultimately, the idea with Microsoft Teams is that you can tailor this workspace to include content and capabilities that you and your team need every day. So while we've all used Outlook forever, most of us aren't even scraping the surface with its capabilities. Outlook is actually an incredibly powerful tool that can increase productivity by leaps and bounds if you really dig into its capabilities. I actually think of it a little bit like Excel. For folks who use Excel on a really remedial level, it's a simple spreadsheet tool. But for the data geeks out there, the folks who use Excel to a greater extent, it is an incredibly powerful machine. So Outlook is kind of similar. There are a bunch of new features in Outlook, like Focused Inbox, which allows you to sort of get rid of all the scuffle and focus on what's important. There's features like the @mention tool that allows you to call out team members, assign them tasks, and so on and so forth. And it seems like almost every couple of weeks, we're seeing other new apps and new add-ins be developed for Outlook. One of our favorites recently is a tool called Find Time, and it's actually a meeting scheduling poll tool. And so you send out just a regular old email, add in a poll, kind of like a doodle poll if you've used that before, and Outlook will actually hold all of the various times on your calendar until such point that all of the meeting attendees have picked their favorite date and the meeting can be scheduled. So it really automates all of that back and forth that we deal with trying to schedule time to get together. Most of us have used SurveyMonkey, maybe Google Forms. And then we might wonder how to connect those responses back to key relationships if we're using it from a business perspective. With the Microsoft app, you can actually build forms, polls, and quizzes to be shared inside and outside your organization, and then you can download and analyze the results. What's really interesting here, if you harken back to the slide earlier about the common data model, is that because Microsoft Forms is one of the spokes of that wheel, we can actually relate responses back to records in Outlook or Dynamics 365 using that tool set. So now you're starting to see that integration between information you're collecting from people and maintaining it inside of a database. With OneDrive, you can store files on the cloud and access them by simply signing into your account from any device that has a local OneDrive folder, the app, or an internet connection. Files are automatically synced for your convenience, and you can edit or update them at any time. If you're familiar with SharePoint, you might actually be wondering how OneDrive is different. SharePoint is a more complex solution with enterprise-level storage, collaboration, and site management tools. OneDrive, on the other hand, is a simpler, straightforward document storage solution that includes ways to share files internally and externally. I actually think of OneDrive as a nice stepping stone for businesses who might be using the old F-Drive approach to company-wide doc storage. So if you have maybe a local server or even a hosted server on which you have just a set of document folders shared, OneDrive for Business can be a nice stepping stone from that point before you get to the complexity of designing and implementing SharePoint. I find OneDrive to be incredibly useful, again, especially because of the connectivity. So being able to access a key file from my phone, if I'm out at a meeting, being able to quickly email that by the integration with Outlook, it becomes a really, really handy mechanism. So I love Microsoft To Do. This is probably one of the simplest apps that can be downloaded and synced across all of your devices, but it provides a powerful way to manage your day-to-day activities. So the app can download tasks from your other sources like Outlook and Dynamics 365, but it also allows you to create tasks on the fly. Every day, I can pick the top priority tasks and add them to the My Day list. And as I check them off, To Do also gives me a satisfying ding, which I just love. Of course, you can create and share lists with your team at work so that you can have shared tasks, but you can also use To Do to manage personal to-do items and lists, just like you would on an app like Trello or Wunderlist. Again, the advantage here is that To Do is connected to all of the other apps you may be using to manage your tasks. So if you mark an item complete in To Do, you're also going to see that item get marked complete in the other sources of tasks, which really helps you to kind of keep your day-to-day in sync. We've dipped our toes into the shallow end with today's webinar. Beyond the 5 apps we've already reviewed here, there are countless others that you might find valuable in your organization. Even as a Microsoft partner, Synact is finding that Microsoft is putting new apps out there and making amendments to existing apps nearly daily. We are following very closely the changes that are happening to these applications and the new features and benefits that are available inside of Office 365. Maybe you do a lot of free-form brainstorming in your organization. Whiteboard might be a great app for you. Or perhaps you have a lot to manage in terms of content about clients and prospects, and it shifts and changes daily. OneNote is a really great way to ease that burden, to kind of have an evolutionary dialogue about key relationships or key projects in the organization. As I said earlier, I encourage you to spend just 15 minutes a day looking at the information on these apps available right inside of Office 365. You'll actually be surprised at how much you learn and how quickly you start digging in. I, to be totally honest, have lost entire mornings to just clicking on one link and you know, as Alice did, kind of heading down that rabbit hole and going from one thing to the next in terms of those productivity tools. It's kind of exciting. Most of the apps we've discussed today have focused on business productivity, not business processes necessarily. So this is going to be my one slide plugging what Synact does in their in our core business. If you think you might be interested in a more comprehensive, highly customizable tool to manage your business, soup to nuts, Dynamics 365 might be an ideal solution for you and your business. Business leaders are constantly looking for ways to optimize operations, transform products, empower employees, and engage customers. This is an era where connecting customers, products, and people wins, and where working smarter is really a core competitive advantage. Technology has really democratized, you know, what we can do on a day-to-day basis, and so it's how you use that technology that can really make a difference in your organization. As we've already discussed, organizations use many kinds of applications to do their work, but this results in disparate transactions, static products, and siloed data living in fragmented, monolithic software suites. That's ultimately why Microsoft created Dynamics 365, which is a suite of business management and business process tools. They wanted to bring together company and customer, patient and provider, factory and field service, people and government, storefront and supply chain, without silos and without limits. Just customers, peoples, products, and data. Dynamics 365 is an end-to-end solution for business transformation. It's actually a full suite of modern intelligent applications to help organizations unify their marketing, their sales, their service, finance and operations, and ultimately talent on a single platform, all working together with Office 365 on the common data model. So when you think about the Office 365 tools, these are really, like I said, almost internal productivity management tools. They're going to help you be more efficient inside of your organization in terms of your collaboration and your communication and keeping track of key documents and all of those types of things. Dynamics is really more about process. And it is a highly customizable, highly configurable tool, and that's what Synack does every day. So I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. One of the biggest impacts of this unified ecosystem based on the common data model is the ability to gain intelligence from these applications that we're using every day. If we think about the evolution of business software applications over the last 20 years, we've seen a transition from systems of record to systems of engagement, and now to systems of intelligence. AI capabilities are natively infused throughout the Office 365 ecosystem, and Microsoft is on a mission to improve that output daily. Employees can leverage AI to amplify the skills of individuals and teams, uncover hidden insights, and actively monitor and secure the organization against modern threats. AI is providing us that once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver new transformational value to your organization. There are as we're talking about Office 365, there are a few features that are built into these applications that you may be using already. My Analytics is a tool available through Office 365 that actually summarizes how you work and suggests ways for you to Intelligent search is available so that you can index files and images through OneDrive and SharePoint. PowerPoint Quick Starter. You can actually pick a topic in PowerPoint, and the application will auto-populate an outline and select starter images for you based on previously created presentations. We've got automatic transcription with Microsoft Stream so that we can make our webinars and videos more accessible across the board. And then, of course, you've got Microsoft Cortana, which for all of you Apple folks out there is a lot like Siri. It's kind of that agent that kind of works on your behalf, a personalized agent. And she'll highlight commitments that you have, send you a notification based on current traffic if you need to leave the office earlier for an appointment. This is all powered about AI. And if you're not thinking about how this is going to impact your organization, even in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to be left behind. So just a quick slide on who we are and why we decided to offer this webinar. We do develop and implement Dynamics 365. That is the core business offering that we have. But as I said very early in the presentation, we're finding more and more that these products and these applications are bleeding together. And so we are doing our best to stay abreast of all of the changes and all of the new features and benefits that are made available in Office 365. It actually works really well with our business model because we offer an all-inclusive partnership. And we're very focused on improving adoption of these strategic software applications. And so if we can kind of help our existing customers and talk to prospects and the rest of the community about what these apps can do for you in your business, we're pretty sure we can build strong relationships for the future. And just, our team is small and growing. We actually have a team of 6 that are now dedicated to ensuring our success with our customers. So with that, I'll kind of try and sum it up a little bit. Remember, none of these apps and services exist in a vacuum. They all have integrations with at least one other app included in the Office 365 suite. And as I said, that's improving day to day. So you can embed stream videos into a Sway presentation or use Flow to create items and other Office 365 programs from forms responses. You can embed Planner into Teams and keep track of project communication. It's really an exciting time to be in business because of how all of these applications are talking to each other and giving us the information we need to make the best strategic decisions as business leaders. Ultimately, if you're interested in learning more about these applications or sitting down for a strategic conversation about how you can leverage the power of this one Microsoft in your organization, certainly let us know. We are here to help. And with that, I will take the last few minutes for any questions that pop up. Again, happy to answer them here to benefit the rest of the group, or if you've got more unique questions and you want to send us a note afterwards, we'd be happy to have a conversation at that point. So thanks for joining this morning. Well, it doesn't seem like we have any questions. So I'll hang on the line for a few minutes in case someone wants to, someone's still typing something or wants to continue the conversation. But otherwise, again, thanks for joining us this morning. We are hoping to offer more of these webinars in the future, and we hope that it we hope that it added value. Sure. Does Outlook integrate with Dynamics 365? Absolutely. So Outlook is, whether you're accessing it via the web or on your phone or in a local version of Outlook, it does fully integrate with Dynamics 365. There's a very tight integration there. Someone's asking, when we transitioned to Microsoft Teams for main phone, was there an additional payment plan or is that included? There are additional components from a licensing perspective for phones. So I will tell you, I'm not a licensing expert, but if I recall correctly, in addition to your Office 365 license that you may already have, you also need to pay for a phone system license, which is an add-on, and a calling plan, which is an add-on. I think it was something along the lines of $8 and $12 for each of those. So you're kind of looking at an additional $20 per user per month for that phone system. Good questions. Are there any more? Can you make calls from your cell phone through the Teams app? Absolutely. So, well, or let me make sure I understand that. If you download the Microsoft app onto your cell phone, you can use that app to dial out, and you can therefore be dialing as your work number, which is really nice. So, I can receive calls on my Synact primary phone number, and I can make calls from my Synact primary phone number all on my cell phone. Our team actually uses a mix of the web interface to make calls and also their cell phones. But it's also nice, you think about right now this whole bring your own device movement that's happening, and really you could get away with not buying phones that plug into the wall anymore at all, right? You don't need hard handsets. Everybody can just use their cell phone, download that app, and it's all within the Microsoft ecosystem. Another question, does the phone system also integrate with Dynamics 365? It does. So there's click-to-call methodology. We can actually automatically create phone call records as a result of calls made through Teams. So lots of opportunities there to leverage integration between the phone app and Dynamics 365. Someone's asking, was this presentation done through Teams, and could you describe how? Yes, so we did use Microsoft Teams. There is a component of Teams called Live Event, and it basically enables you to set up set up a live event. You can either actually show your face and do a video presentation, or you can share your screen, show a PowerPoint, what have you. What we found is that it was nice because folks who are already using Teams could actually join through the Teams app or the Teams interface on their computer. But folks who did not have Teams in place could join through the web pretty easily as well. It also didn't require us to have people log in. You could join anonymously. And it was actually pretty simple to set up. So now we are going to be using this going forward for all of our live events. Can you have calls auto track against records and dynamics if the phone number matches? There are ways to do that, yes. So we can build out both incoming and outgoing tracking for phone calls that are made with Teams. Yep. What if you have Office 365, or I'm sorry, Microsoft 365, but on an older operating system that doesn't have, quote, the apps? Can you still use them? Does that mean, just to clarify that, does that mean that you have an on-premise version of Exchange, perhaps? Or what do you mean by an older operating system that doesn't have the apps? Can you still log into Office 365 online? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to answer that question or not, but I am more than happy to have a sidebar conversation with the anonymous person there. Looks like we have a follow-up question on creating the integration between the Teams app and Dynamics 365. She wants to know, does it involve custom coding? To a certain extent, it does. It's not an out-of-the-box sort of native feature, but you can use, if you think about that common data model we talked about, you can use the tools Microsoft Flow and Power Apps to build a sort of low-code solution there. So it's maybe not something that you want to do on your own if you're not super techy, but a Microsoft partner would definitely be able to help you out there. Some of the apps, someone's asking about, using an older operating system that doesn't have the apps. Most of these apps are all online. So as long as you connect to Office 365 via the web and you're not using like Microsoft Exchange or an on-premise solution, if you're using the cloud-based Office 365 tool set, then you can access these apps online. If you have an older operating system, it's possible that you won't be able to download local versions of those apps, but most of them have nearly full capabilities in the online tool set. So I think the answer to that is yes. Good. These are great questions, folks, and I'm happy to hang on the line and keep answering them. So as long as you guys have them, don't feel bad jumping in with them. These are great. Someone's asking if I can talk a little bit about the benefits of Office 365 versus on-premise Office. So one of the biggest distinctions, of course, is your ability to access the latest and greatest features and benefits. So when you purchase on-premise Microsoft Office, you're first and foremost limited to the number of applications that you can leverage. Usually on-premise Office is going to include kind of your basic products, your Outlook, your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, maybe Access. But every time you purchase that, it's only good for so long, and then you have to actually pay for an upgrade or install an upgrade. And Microsoft's not launching these sort of more ongoing improvements to those applications. So it's very easy to get outdated and miss out on some of the current tool sets that are available. The other big piece to think about, I would say, is security. Oftentimes our on-premise Microsoft Office, it's, some folks are hosting it locally in their own office. Some folks might have a data center that they're using. But, if you ask me, I want the multi-gazillion-dollar business like Microsoft controlling my security. I really want to make sure that it's the latest and greatest and that there's teams of hundreds, if not thousands of people focused on keeping those hackers out and protecting my information. So, I think those are the two big ones is, getting to leverage the current, the current features and benefits, all the new bells and whistles, and then also that security component. Someone else is asking where to find information about doing live stream through Teams. Since this is an anonymous guest, I can't say that I'll email you some links unless you want to send me a quick email at some point or reach out to us. But I know if you just Google Microsoft Teams live, what is it? Live events. It'll take you right to the Microsoft documentation. I would encourage you to make sure you go to the Microsoft documentation itself because there's a ton of info out there by partners and what have you, but it's not necessarily kept up to date in quite the same way. Again, if you just want to shoot us an email at sarah.compter@synack.net, I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Any other questions? Someone says that they think it's really cool, so that's good info. We think it's really cool too. All right. Well, I don't see any new questions popping in, and we are 5 minutes past when I promised I'd keep you all ready. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you all again for participating. If you want to have a conversation, if you have more questions, certainly, reach out to us. We would be happy to set up a time to discuss your unique situation and see if there's anything we can do to help you leverage some of these tools. We appreciate your support, and we hope you'll join webinars that we offer in the future. Thanks so much, and have a great day.